people don't like to talk about and gets left out in these discussions, I think is important to think about, is the idea of a day job as an artist. And when, how a day job can be beneficial as an artist when you're, making that transition to, you can make money off music. And when is that point when you say, I can walk away from a day job? That, I think that's the point to cover.
Yeah. I think if you have a choice, then you need to keep that damn day job. I think if you can go to it, if you physically can go to a job every day, you should keep that job for as long as you can. I'm a fan of people having jobs. Like my first like long tour where I got paid some money was with Atmosphere, and I worked at my job, but like we left on a Wednesday and I worked on Tuesday. You know what I mean? And I've had friends that had great jobs and quit their jobs to do music, and it felt like a mistake to watch them do that, and it turned out to be a mistake in a certain way. And especially if you have other people to take care of. If you take care of yourself, then nobody needs to have an opinion on how you do anything. But especially, I think if we're taking care of other people, if we have children, we take care of our, people around us or whatever. Until you can't work a job. And watching Slug and Sadiq and the people, seeing them when they started Rhymesayers, I would watch them get checks for, Atmosphere. Way back in the day, would go and play with Run DMC and all these huge groups and take the check and sign it over to the company and then go work at their day job. And I saw them be upcoming, like really national artists with a heavy buzz and still work at their job until it just literally was not an option anymore. And so I believe in the way that I was shown and the way that I was mentored and the way I was taught. And so I'm a firm believer in that.
Yeah, just to harp on that, I got a record on my album Salvation Code for What It's Worth where I actually talk about that. I talk about having a 9 to 5 and dealing with, going to do something else outside, because, around my way it's that, that's really the only other option. I'm from Brooklyn, I'm from Bed-Stuy, so it's that. But with me, I actually got fired from my job in 2006, and I never looked back, and that record, I bring that record up because I talk about it in detail on that song, and it's one of the records that a lot of people, as far as my fan base, really connect to because they feel like they go through that. I mean, I've gotten tweets from people that are like, I listen to For What It's Worth every day when I'm getting ready to go to work, or when I get home from, from my job or whatever. And I got fired in 2006 and I just never looked back. I was like, you know what, I'm through with it. And whether that was smart of them at the time, I've been blessed to not have to go back and not have to really worry about it. But I do, there's times where I've done shows or, I do one-offs like spot dates or whatever, or even on the road. People will be like, man, you living, you don't gotta go to work, you're doing whatever you want, this, that, and third. And I'm like, yeah, that's dope. Like, I'm definitely a product of that and a success story to that, extent, but I don't recommend it. Just like Ali said, like, I don't recommend it. People have asked me all the time, like, yo, man, you know what, opening for you tonight, man, and just hearing your story, yo, it makes me just want to not go to work tomorrow. I'm like, yo, don't do that. You don't have, because who's to say that you're going to turn out like me? You know what I mean? Who's to say that you're going to be in a situation where 6 years later you could say, yeah, I don't miss that job or any other job. I'm a rare success story and a blessing that I'm grateful for every day. So I don't say to people, yeah, man, quit your job, it's whatever, just grind out, just go hard, just grind. Like, nah, like, grind and go to work too if you can, but with me, I was put in a situation where I was forced out. Like, I was trying to go to work every day. They kicked me out the door. So, I was like, yo, I'm not going back. And I never filled out another job application. I never looked online for nothing. I don't even remember what my resume looks like because it's been that long, but that's a blessing to be able to say that. And I don't recommend that to other people who aren't set up, or unless yo, this is lined up and this, and this, and even that's not guaranteed. Like, I've seen everything in this game, just disappear. I've seen it with other people. I've seen the way the game is and the smoke and mirrors and all that. So nothing is really guaranteed. Like, you should definitely ride out until you can't ride no more, like Ali said. Sure.
Just to add one thing, I know I spoke of, I was reading the story of Bill Withers one time, and he put out his first record. And if we all seen the documentaries, now we all know what it sounds like when Bill Withers talks about stuff. But when he was young, his first album came out, Still Bill came out, it had all his big hits on it, or a lot of his early hits. And when it came out, he was working at an auto plant. And the people at the record label said, you have the #1 album, we're going to send you on tour, we need you to leave your job and all that stuff. And he said, no way in hell, it's a good job. And he stayed at his job for another year before they would let him go on tour. But I mean, they literally had to bring him the money from the tour and say, this is the money that you quit your job, this can be your money. So I still believe in that.
I like that story. I guess my experience is, like if you have enough work to do, to make, if you're leaving your day job and then you know you have a day job to jump into, that felt like the point for me. So I knew that I had wanted to write in some capacity, you know, since knee-high style. So I wanted to have a job where I made a lot of money in short amount of hours so that I could spend all the, you know, most of the rest of the hours that I was awake trying to get good enough to not, you know, to do that for full time. So I thought waitresses at expensive restaurants seemed to make a lot of money. And then I heard about a position called tech writing, which seemed like I could learn and hone my language skills. So that's like when you write instructions for shit. Some of them are better than the IKEA stuff. So I used to write the instructions for pacemaker implantation for doctors. And I borrowed my mother's wedding ring and a pager with no batteries so that I would seem older. Got the gig, and then waitressed at night. And I remember getting a text like, we don't have the file. And I told Table 5 I'd be back, and like shaking hands, opened my laptop in the bathroom of Chino Latino to like resend the pacemaker instruction thing. And eventually, then Doomtree, which is the label in addition to being a crew that I work with, had enough work, and we certainly can't pay somebody else to do it, that it seemed like there was a day job there. So the best advice, I guess, that Kevin didn't ask for me, was cultivate inexpensive tastes. You know, drink premium, man. Like, just put the sugar and the milk in it yourself. I mean, you know, if you don't need the name brand clothes, like, don't get them, or buy them at that cool, you know, secondhand shop. That was the very best advice I ever got as an artist, because nobody's going to tell you what your sound is going to be like, or what exact skills. You hear people who can't sing make it big on the strength of their personalities. You hear beautiful voices who can't perform make it on the strength of their records. I don't think there's a formula artistically you're going to receive that's going to be the epitome for you about what you got to do to be an artist. But you can find that vision if you don't have to work 8 or 9 hours a day just to pay off the lease on your car, you know? So for me, the bus pass was like the key to being a rapper. As long as I could avoid having a car, as long as I could avoid, you know, getting my own apartment and like still doing the roommate hustle, as long as I could avoid, like I would intentionally not drink nice booze in case I liked it too much, then I'd have to be ordering it all the time. You know, I don't want to know what any of that stuff tastes like. I don't want to walk by that store, because if I only need a little bit of money to live, I can spend all the rest of my time trying to hone my craft.